Greetings, friends. Jason here for AxodysFC. Saturday mid-afternoon. I'm a little under the weather again. So rather than walking around my neighborhood, I'm just getting in a quick video near my house. So a pretty good day for watching Premier League and Bundesliga soccer. I did pretty well fantasy-wise as well, and had some funny outcomes. But anyway, as far as the Premier League goes, let's see. The most significant to Spurs was probably Arsenal. And who did they play? They played Sheffield United. So predictably, it was a blowout. They won 5-0. Looked strong. I didn't watch the game, but saw a few highlights, and looks like they dispatched them with no issues. So that moves them to within 2 points of Tottenham now. And let's see, City plays tomorrow, and I've forgotten who they play. Needless to say, I would guess they will win. I know Liverpool plays Forest tomorrow, so I don't think City has an overly challenging match. As far as other matches today, Newcastle and Wolverhampton was one that I was interested in, because I rely on Newcastle's goalkeeper Nick Pope and a few of their defenders for fantasy-related purposes. So I was interested, and I thought, Wolves have been kind of a second half of the table type of team, so I figured odds were good that they would have a good showing. Maybe we get a clean sheet, which is good for fantasy purposes. Did not happen. It was a very competitive game. Actually ended up a 2-2 draw. It was raining hard late in the second half. It looked miserable. Wolves actually had a good chance to maybe even take the lead. One of their players, I forget which player it was. Oh yeah, Neto. He had basically a breakaway situation. His hamstring gave out just as he was entering the box, and he couldn't even finish the play. He just let the ball go. It was pretty sad, and then he collapsed on the ground, and they had to cart him off. So if that that could have easily been the go-ahead goal, I would think, if not for that freaky injury. So lucky for Newcastle in that situation. Let's see, any other games? Chelsea lost, let's see, to Brentford. Brentford, as we know, can be a tough opponent, and so that doesn't entirely surprise me. Brentford won 2-0. The only other game, let's see, was Bournemouth over Burnley, and that was a crazy VAR situation as well. I caught the end of that. It was very Bournemouth. It seemed like, we're doing pretty well, but Burnley had a chance to, and actually scored an equalizer, but then it was called back by VAR, but it took 5 minutes for them to decide that he was offside, barely. Very frustrating. And then they immediately, or shortly after, missed a possible penalty scenario, like a handball in the box. Didn't even review it or anything. Needless to say, Vincent Kompany seemed pretty frustrated, and I'm sure people will be talking about that game as well. So switching gears to the Bundesliga, I watched the Stuttgart and Hoffenheim game because again, a couple fantasy players for me, and they both had good games, so that was great, even though they were on opposing teams. But yeah, Maximilian Bayer, young forward for Hoffenheim, he got a goal or an assist, I forget. Anyway, yeah, he had a significant fantasy outcome. Hoffenheim ended up winning. It was on the road, and Stuttgart was missing Gerassi. I forget. Anyway, he was the guy that was leading the Bundesliga in goals so far this season, and I'm sure they really missed him today. Chris Furyk for Stuttgart, yeah, has been a huge performer for me as a midfielder. Very good young player as well. Just got his first call up with Germany actually in the last international break. So yeah, so I've picked up some young up and comers in the Bundesliga, but I'm not actually using them in Bundesliga competitions. But actually, so as Bayern was playing Darmstadt, and yeah, I didn't watch that game either, but just 8-0 domination. Harry Kane had a hat trick. He hit a goal where the keeper was out too far from like his own half, essentially. And I did see the replay of that. We've seen him do that before, but yeah. Anyway, Bayern was on fire. Darmstadt, you know, looked like every Premier League fans misconception of what the Bundesliga is like. Yeah, so anyway, needless to say, that was great for me fantasy wise because I start Kane and Zane, and Zane had like, between the two of them, they almost maxed out their fantasy potential, and then Kane was my captain, so he gets like 50% more. So anyway, needless to say, and then RB Leipzig is one of my defensive packages, yeah, for fantasy too. And their keeper had a clean sheet. They won theirs 5-0. And the defender that I paired with, he got a goal too. So anyway, for the Bundesliga fantasy that I did, I almost maxed out like your theoretical percentage points. I was like 495, 500. There are bonuses and things beyond that, but like 500 is sort of like the max you can get for players and so rare. Anyway, so right now, I mean, there are games to be played tomorrow. I'm not sure about Monday in the Bundesliga, but right now I'm in second. Just so anyway, potential to win a really nice card with that. So we'll see how that turns out. Depending on who it is, we'll probably potentially. I'll either keep it because I do kind of want to have a Bundesliga squad, and I have 2 players already. But obviously, if I don't want the card, I'll flip it and try and get another Spurs card. So yeah, anyway, fun and entertaining morning for watching soccer. Clasico was on as well. Real Madrid won that. Jude Bellingham had an awesome game, it sounds like. I didn't watch that one either. But yeah, anyway, a good morning and early afternoon. Oh, and okay, I have to speaking of, yeah, so I also, there was a Bundesliga 2 game on ESPN Plus that I was interested in because Kaiserslautern was playing Hamburger, and the Kaiserslautern I have picked up some cards from because they're cheaper, and anyway, it's there are certain fantasy competitions you can do that it's worth having. But anyway, and actually their goalkeeper was one of the cheaper ones that I could get. Anyway, he's been terrible and has cost me the last couple competitions that I've entered him in. But so anyway, Kaiserslautern was playing well. and they have multiple players that have really good scores for me. And anyway, but their keeper, they were up 3-2. Julian Kral is his name. They played, Hamburger played like a long arcing ball into the box, kind of straight on, and so Kral came out as if to like catch it or deflect it away or whatever. He misjudged it. It flew over his head and bounced into the goal. And so at that, so it was a 3-3 draw at that point. And anyway, and his fantasy score went from like a fine for my purposes 40, which is terrible, but it's still adequate for what I had entered him into, to a 10, which just killed my ability to win like the $5 prize that I was mostly going for in that one. Anyway, Kaiserslautern also had chances to like equalize or not equalize, but take the lead and get the win. It didn't end up happening. Luckily, Hamburger basically was able to pressure and get shots against the goal enough that Kral was able to like bring his score back up 10 points. And that got me just over the threshold that would win me $5. So, yeah, hilarious, aggravating. I need better, for the Bundesliga too, I need better keepers. So, keeping my eye out on options for that. But anyway, yeah, very entertaining morning. Not much Tottenham related stuff, obviously. But I want to go back and watch a little bit of the Chelsea replay. Yeah, I feel good about us going into that game, but we can't take it lightly. And yeah, anyway, thanks for tuning in. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy these. And remember, to dare is to do.